Hello, welcome to Chemistry 1411. We're going to be together for the 5-week 1 session. My name is Dr. Dunnington. I'm going to be doing the online lecture as well as the on-campus lab for the class, so everything will be through me. The purpose of this video is not to talk about specific assignments, kind of give you a broad overview on the class, kind of talk about some dates, as well as kind of some structure, or not, more philosophy behind the class. And kind of some ideas as to how the class is kind of built or kind of meant to ideas. So I've been at Lee for 7 years now. I really like the location of Lee because we're kind of on the edge of the Houston service area. So some of y'all may live, up to an hour away from campus, which is really novel that there's a huge geographic area that's supported by Lee. So you see a lot of different people with a lot of different backgrounds as students. I really like it, right? You have, a huge region, right? Liberty, Dayton, Hull, Cove, Mount Belvieu, Baytown. Obviously, those are very cover a large area. You get a lot of variety. So I think it's really cool. I also really like teaching at community colleges. I got my PhD at the University of Wisconsin, and I taught classes there where you're teaching to like 100+ students, and it's just kind of speaking into a void, a little mindless. I didn't necessarily like it that much. And instead, I thought I would go teach high school, which I failed miserably at because I couldn't do any sort of classroom management. So I really wasn't teaching anything. And so I like the community college where I'm teaching the same stuff I was teaching at a college, and y'all have chosen to be here, but I also get to know y'all. I will learn your names, have some sort of interactions, and I really like that. And so I really want that in a teaching job. I like teaching, and I want that in a teaching job. Outside of work, I like to go kind of around to new places. I like to travel, especially like to bird watch new different places, see different birds in different areas. I also like to read maybe a decent amount, watch like movies. So I like novelty, going new places, reading new books, seeing new films, stuff like that. For the actual class itself, one of the things to note is that college algebra is a co-requisite for the class, so we are going to do a little bit of algebra. Nothing too heavy, but there will be some, and there will be math kind of throughout different parts. One of the things important to note, that this is a chemistry class, so we're going to use math, and so I will assume that you have some familiarity with math, but I never will just say solve this. I will always work through and demonstrate how to do the math for a specific problem or any sort of question like that. You can see my dog has come here. And so I will always explain how to do any sort of question, how to do any sort of problem. I do assume that you can, when I say show you how to solve, that it's something you've seen before. But I don't expect it to be, I won't ever just say, do the exponent or, solve for the variable. I'll just show you how to do it. And if you ever have any questions about some of the math that we're doing, I'm always happy to talk about that outside of any sort of come to student hours, email conversations, anything like that. I'm going to explain how or what I'm doing in solving any sort of kind of problem. Also want to note that many of you are probably not here for being a chemist in the long term. For many of you, this is a class that is a prerequisite for other classes or other programs you're more interested in getting into. And if that's the case, that's just normal. I'm not going to take offense to that, but I want to hopefully show you that chemistry is relevant. This isn't just a class that is in the way of something else you want to do. Instead, this is a class, where you can learn some skills, some language, some techniques to allow you to understand the material you're more interested in, whether or not that's some biomedical thing, something to do with nursing, rocks in the ground, you want to drill out oil, processing stuff, for like technological applications, or semiconductor applications, right? Computers, right? That stuff's all made of chemicals. So learning the language of how we talk about chemicals and transformations of chemicals, and how that informs or allows you to understand the thing you're potentially more interested in doing. This is a summer class. It's a 5-week class. So a standard semester is 16 weeks. That means there's like 15 weeks of lecture, and then you do a week of final exams. We're going to do 5 weeks, which is really like 4.5 weeks of lecture and then a test. So this class is going to move fast. We will be doing, if this was an fully on-campus class, you would have 2 hours of lecture and 2 hours of lab 4 days a week, to give you reference. So that means there's 8 hours of lecture material every week. that gets translated into online lecture. So there's going to be a lot every week. When you first start to go through it, you'll feel like this is a lot of videos. There's a lot of stuff here. That's just because it is. That's every week will kind of be like that. I do kind of move around for like tests and stuff. Kind of make, if I have the opportunity to make it lighter, but there's still going to be a lot every week because we have to do a whole semester in 5 weeks. It's going to be a lot. This is an online class along those lines. And so there will be one of the things about doing an online class with the summer is we can spread things out. It's not just traditional on campus to be Monday to Thursday. The thing that I like about online lecture is we can move some of that material, spread it out. So we'll have stuff going due on like Friday when you'd be in doing lecture videos. And so with an online class, how I spread it out, or how my kind of conception of online class is to try to take advantage of the flexibility, i.e. making the videos. You can watch the lecture videos whenever you want. They're pre-made. They're just posted on Blackboard and you can watch them. There's no time we're going to all meet online or anything like that in like a Zoom classroom or WebEx or something. Instead, you can watch the videos whenever works best for you. And then at the same time, there's going to be due dates kind of throughout everything. You would come to class 4 lectures. So there's going to be in a week. So there's going to be 4 due dates in the week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, when you're turning in an assignment associated with watching lecture videos. The idea is you can do it any pace, you can go at your own pace as long as it's fast enough. So there's a lot of assignments that I do, but a lot of them are small. It is a participation assignment. It's questions that you need to submit a response to and you get full credit. But the idea is that you're keeping up with the pace. You can watch it on your own time when works best for you. Some of my students are up very late. That's fine if you want to turn things in then. Due dates are generally going to be midnight, but you can turn things in whenever, anytime before that. That idea of many assignments is actually something that the idea of having a lot of assignments is something I do outside of online. In my fully on campus classes, I do it as well. And it leads into my idea of how learning happens, of attempting something and getting feedback about it. And so I have a lot of assignments that are low stakes, right? They're not super important, or they're not super important for your grade, and they're like completion. And then they'll build up to having assignments like the homework assignments where you have to get the right answer if you have multiple attempts. And then we have quizzes where you have to get the right answer on the first attempt, but it's not worth a lot of your grade. And then we have exams where now you have to get it right on the first attempt, and it's worth a lot more of your grade. And this idea of this escalation of the stakes of the assignments is, I think, kind of enables and encourages you to make mistakes early, right? You're learning this stuff. It's new, so you're gonna make mistakes. So what I want to have happen is you to do a participation assignment, make a mistake. It doesn't affect your grade at all, but you learn from it. And then we're not making that mistake when we go to do the homework, and then we make a different mistake and it affects our grade a little bit, but then we learn from it. So then on the participation, we make a third mistake and it affects our grade a little bit, and then we don't make any mistakes on the test because we've learned from our mistakes. We've made mistakes. Making mistakes is a normal part of learning and something that we just need to, it's a part of learning. It's a part of gaining knowledge and skill and expertise is trying something, not getting it quite right, and getting that feedback. And so I'm going to try to that's why I have so many assignments, more opportunities for you to feedback. We'll get to do some practice on campus and stuff. Plenty of opportunity for getting feedback. Speaking of on campus, we'll first meet on Tuesday, June 2nd at 9 a.m. That's Tuesday. We will also meet on Thursday at 9 a.m. So every week we'll meet twice, Tuesday morning and Thursday morning. It's 9 a.m. to 1:15. We generally will be using a big chunk of that time. I don't know if I can't guarantee we're going to use all of it, but we'll be doing tests and other stuff. Labs, tests, and other stuff. So we're meeting in room 124 of the science building at 9 a.m. It is the lab room, and we're going to do a lab on Tuesday morning. So you need to have goggles. I do have some if you haven't gotten them through the My Books yet. They need to be goggles, not glasses that rest on your eyes, and you have a strap that secures them to your head. You need to be wearing closed-toed shoes, so no Crocs, no sandals. If you're wearing like flats, it needs to cover past your toes. Basically, we want to make sure that there's nothing can get into your shoe beneath your foot. And if you have those kinds of shoes, you're not a clog or something, you're naturally going to take it off. So it has to cover the top of your foot and wrap around the back. Additionally, for clothing, we need to be covered from shoulders down to ankles, so no exposed calves. Like that. I don't want to see any knees. This is again for protection against like spills, things dropping on the counter and splashing on your chest, things dropping on the ground and splashing on your calves. We don't want to have any of that. Additionally, it's very cold in the lab room. It's going to be hot outside. It's going to be freezing cold inside. So I encourage you to bring a sweatshirt, something like that. I always wear sweatshirts in the building. I think the science building is very cold. And so I'd encourage you to have that. But not required. After the labs and beyond labs, we'll be doing other stuff on campus. Sometimes we'll do other lab kind of activities, things that would be a full lab if we had more days, like in a full semester, that have been converted into like little self-contained activities. We'll also work on like practice problems. We'll take tests on campus. I think the practice problems are really nice. I like doing that in a hybrid, where it's a nice kind of option in a hybrid, because in an online lecture, you're kind of all by yourself watching me talk, and it'd be really isolating, and especially with respect to like feeling like everyone else might get it and you're the only one who doesn't, and instead realizing, oh no one else is getting this, everyone's having issues with this. So we'll have that on campus time as well. We will have class on Tuesday, June 2nd at 9 a.m. Also, the Blackboard class will open on Monday, June 1st, somewhere in like the early hours of the morning, like 2, 3 a.m., something like that. You can get in there and start watching videos. If you have any questions, let me know. My email is bdunnington@lee.edu. It sent you this video if you got the email. Otherwise, welcome to the class. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, bye-bye.